Hey guys, welcome back to Bear One's Burden. I'm Joe. Today I'm going to talk to you about the pie cutting phase of planning, inspecting, and evaluation. Um, some people have heard me use this term and they say, Joe, isn't inspection and evaluation the same thing? And I look back and I tell them, I was like, well, it depends. And I'm going to explain to you guys why it depends on today on this video. But first, in the pie cutting phase, I start with the planning. And the planning involves me going around the house or the project and taking measurements of everything. And then once I have those measurements, handwritten measurements, I go back and sit down in front of a computer and I transfer those into a software, which is SketchUp Pro. During taking those measurements, I also do the inspection process at the same time. Which inspecting, I inspect for things that are working, they are in good conditions. Whether or not something needs to be replaced right away or changed. So some of the things that I inspect are like roof, chimney, foundation, floors, windows, doors, trim work, so siding, those things. And I inspect them as far as like, do they need repair or are they in good condition? Now the difference in evaluating is more like is the item efficiently doing its job, or should we move into something more updated? For example, you could inspect whether an electrical service panel is in good condition, the wires is it working, things like that, and you could come and say yes, it's working, it's in good condition. But when you evaluate, that tells you whether your service panel that you have, let's say you have a 100 amp service panel, is that going to work with what you're planning to put inside the home in the future or in your project? In this case, no, it won't, because you might need, because updated appliances and things like that, you might need more than 100 amps. You may need to go to 200 amps. So when you evaluate that, then no, the inspection worked. Yes, it gave you an answer, but the evaluation told you no, you need to update, you need to change. Also, evaluation most of the time consists of doing some math. So, for example, and again with the scenario with electrical, if you're doing electrical, you got to calculate your load for the entire house. You got to calculate your circuits for the entire house. You got to calculate your amperage for the entire house. So that requires a bit of math. For an inspection doesn't. Inspection, you verify whether it's in good condition or not, and it needs to be replaced or not, or leave it as it is. So also an evaluation in insulation. Insulation, you could have insulation in the home, but doesn't mean that it's efficient now, because if the house was insulated 30 years ago, that was different materials, a different way to protect the home, and the efficiency has changed. So 30 years ago, yeah, it was working, but now it still works, but is it efficient enough, or can you update it? And then the evaluation is, if I decide to update, is that gonna be cost effective? Because I don't want to change something if I'm not recovering the cost, or it doesn't make no sense me spending that money to get no benefit from the insulation is going to provide. My bill, is it going to change that much to make it significant enough for the change? HVAC heat loads. As you guys know, this house doesn't have no heat. So I inspected it, and that's what it told me. It has no heat. I need to put a heat in. Okay, can I just grab any furnace, any boiler, and just put it in this house? and that's it. Make it work. Maybe if you get lucky. But for example, this house is 5,491 square foot. Not just any heating system is going to work. Not just any AC system is going to work. You need load capacities, and you need to evaluate whether, okay, so this is 3 floors of livable plus the attic and the basement. So it's five. Essentially, it's 5 levels. So do you want to split? Do you want to do first and second floor, which are the main livable areas, and then do the third and the attic with a different system? So how you want to do that? So evaluating that is gonna change. It's gonna be math calculations, and an inspection in this case is not gonna give you the information you need. Also, like for example, fireplaces. I evaluated the chimneys. I mean, I inspected the chimneys. They're not good. They need to be replaced. They haven't been used in a long time. They're crumbling. There's no liners. So yeah, the inspection told me it's like I have to do something about it. So what do? I have to evaluate. Now I have to decide. Yes, I have essentially 4 fireplaces in this house. 2 downstairs, 1 in the master bedroom, and 1 in the 3rd floor. Okay, so what do? Do I repair to keep what it is there? Because right now it's a fire burning chimney, fireplaces. But if I'm going to put money and work into this, should I keep it this way, or should I look for something more updated? It might be more convenient for me to put gas burning inserts in the fireplaces rather than use wood, which requires me to stack wood and keep them dry and bring them in the house and then clean up the residue from the burning. Maybe a gas insert provides the same amount of heat or better these days than just keeping it the way it is. So I have to evaluate, and that's what I do. Now, once I do the planning, initial rough draft with SketchUp Pro, and then I have completed my inspection, and now I know what I'm working with, and then I do my evaluations, and I start realizing, okay, these are my requirements. Then, for example, for my heat loads, I use specific calculations. So, for example, I use a manual J calculation for my heat loads in HVAC. For ductwork that I'm going to be running on this type of home, the Unico system is a great idea because it fits better into the structure of the home right now. It's a very old home, over 120 years old or so. So this system works best. Now, to use the system, I'm required to take the whole plans of the entire house and send it to them so that they could evaluate what will be the best routing of the Unico system. And in this case, I will have to use another software, which is called the RightSoft software, which gives them the ability for them to do a CFM calculation, heat load calculation, how to run it so it could be more efficient and less power consuming. So this is my process for the planning, inspecting, and evaluating. To some people say, "Oh man, I'm not spending no time doing that. That's a waste of time. It takes a lot of time, effort." And yes, it's true. It takes a pretty long time and effort doing this. But I'm telling you, in my experience, I guarantee you, if you do it this way, you will relieve other stress and other times consuming places. You'll be able to cut some times off doing it this way. So does it pay off to spend some time on this phase? I definitely think it does. If you skip this phase, you most likely are going to run into problems that you did not see and you're not prepared for. So then what you're found doing is just quickly coming up with a solution so that you could keep moving and keep the project going and you don't get stuck on someone waiting for, let's say, supplies that you needed. This way, you kind of see what you're going to run into ahead of time. So you got the leeway to say, okay, let me plan for this and have what you need to do it properly. because you could always jump and do something. It's like putting a band-aid and keep moving, but then you're gonna have to come back and repairing that band-aid, which I don't like doing. I'd rather spend the time here, make sure that I'm understanding what I'm dealing with. I try to cover as many problems as I could foresee before I start jumping into something. So my suggestion is spend some time in your planning phase. Put some time and calculate things before you jump into anything. Guys, if this video has helped you out, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribe, guys, and help the channel out. Also, next, I'm going to be going and showing you guys how the SketchUp Pro works for me. I'm going to show you what I have so far with the hand-drawn and converted into SketchUp Pro. I'm going to show you some of the things that I already have renovated or remodeled from place. For example, I redesigned the stairwell going to the 3rd floor. I also redesigned a bathroom for the master bedroom. So things like that. I'm gonna speak and show you guys what the software do and what you can do without even doing anything in the project. All right, guys, stay tuned and see you in the next one.